Welcome back to another episode of Y2K Sports Talk. Today we're going to be going over our biggest winners and losers of week 3, as well as always previewing our Thursday night game. This one is Seattle and Arizona, a nice divisional game coming up. We're going to be telling you our predictions and preview for that, so let's get started.
So to start us off, one of my biggest winners are the Panthers. I mean, they were looking like the same old Panthers for the first 2 weeks, and then they shut out the Falcons immediately. Like, the Falcons defense looked tremendous against the Vikings just a week ago, and they looked good against the Bucks. You know, they barely lost that game, and they could have won that game if, Koo didn't miss the kicks. They then beat up on the Vikings. The offense did look a little whatever, but the defense looked really good. But then the Panthers just put 30 up on them. It was 30-0. Everyone there looks like they're clicking. Hopefully they, for their sake, they continue this. But, that's enough said. I mean, they just did, a good butt whooping. Another one I have is the Lions. I mean, that Ravens and Lions game, it was close for the most part. But when you look at the statistics and then when they took it away from them at the end, the Lions had 40 pressures against Lamar. And it's just, if it wasn't for Lamar's legs, he probably would have gotten sacked almost all 40 of those pressures because they were in the backfield immediately. I mean, me and him were watching, and we saw it specifically in the fourth quarter when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
That O-line was just, it was horrible. And you got to feel for him. You got to feel for Henry. I mean, he fumbled it, but they got the ball back. The Lions only got a field goal, but they were at 24, so they could have tied it. The O-line couldn't hold up. Lamar didn't have time to do anything. Then the Lions showed pure dominance in just that entire game. The run game specifically, along with the D-line. And then shout out Jared Goff on that fourth down throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown. That really clinched the game to help. And they all were just clicking. I mean, it's just like the Panthers. They were clicking. They showed that they're better than the team that lost against the Packers week 1, and I'm very excited to watch them play each other again. I got the Eagles as my third winner because in the first half they didn't look good at all. But then the second half, you had Hurts throwing for 3 touchdowns. They get the block kick at the end. They return it for a touchdown just to add a cherry on top. Everybody was clicking. It was just a pure true dominant comeback, and I got to give them their flowers with that. As Hurts hasn't thrown a touchdown the whole season, and then he comes in, kind of looks the same the first half, only gets like a rushing push touchdown, and then he goes and throws 3 passing touchdowns and goes and leads them to tie it. And then the Rams could have won it, but I don't even know what happened there. I had a feeling that because I think they might have either had a block earlier that game or maybe they came close to it. I can't remember, but I just had a feeling that something was going on. I saw Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter really communicating with each other on this. I knew it was going to be one of them, and it ended up being Davis. And then, but him returning it for a touchdown, I didn't have that on my bingo card, especially with how big he is and stuff. But shout out to them. I got to give them their flowers. I mean, another team I got to give their flowers though is the Browns. I mean, the Browns defense did help them specifically, but Judkins looked great. He looked fantastic. He was also a reason they were even able to control the game to take off time on the clock. 18, I think, for 94 and a touchdown. And I mean, right now, statistically, he's the best rookie running back right now. And nobody really expected him, specifically with his legal issues that he got resolved or whatever. He missed time to practice, and then he comes back and he looks good immediately. There was no time lost. He looks better than everyone around. I mean, you got to give it to, because it's like Henderson has the talent, but he's not being used as much. Genty has the talent, but his O-line is absolutely horrible. But the Browns O-line, from what I remember, isn't anything crazy or special. I don't remember if they were ever talked about being horrible, but you got to give Judkins his flowers due to everything he went through. But specifically that defense, man, that defense was just on another level of everything. I mean, I think didn't they also have a block kick, or was it just a missed field goal by was it just a regular miss?
I can't remember, to be honest, but
that game was crazy.
Either way,
to say the least. I'm pretty sure.
I'm so caught up in all the special teams blunders and weird stuff.
I wouldn't doubt if it was
so.
blocked. I mean, there were so many blocks that, like the Jets and the Bucs. There were so many blocks. It was crazy. But then Browns ended up getting a field goal to win the game. So you got to give them their flowers. The Seahawks are another winner of mine. I mean, they just showed absolute domination on every level of football when it came to the offense, the defense, and special teams. My goodness. They were everywhere. They were scoring on everything. They were doing everything right. And sadly for the Saints, they were at the end of it. The Saints didn't look honestly too bad the first 2 weeks. They looked like they
It
were.
was blocked.
It was
It
blocked.
was blocked. Yep.
Well, see, like I said, it didn't
Yeah.
surprise me. But going back into the Seahawks, like the Saints didn't look that bad in the first 2 weeks. They looked like they were going to be one of those bad teams that kept it competitive though, but didn't win a lot of games. But that defense looked like they were stepping up. Kamara still looks like Kamara, and Rattler honestly wasn't that bad leading
Yeah,
up to
it
this
wasn't
game.
actually that bad.
But then the Seahawks come in and they just take advantage of a dwindled team and they come in and they just destroyed them. That's all I could say. Like destroyed is the perfect definition of what happened. That game was just it wasn't even close, but sorry for the Saints. I mean, they got a whole other thing coming for them. I mean, they might as well just start, Tyler Shock. They got to see what they have in him just to see what the future is for them. Moving into my losers, I have the Falcons, obviously because of what like I was saying with the Panthers. I mean, they got shut out. Michael Penix was like I think the eighth overall pick. He's not performing like the eighth overall pick. The offense looks boring and it shouldn't when you have Bijan, when you have Kyle
Yeah.
Pitts, Drake London. Penix didn't look like it's just stuff isn't clicking, and I don't know if it's a coaching issue, if it's the players, if it's both. But I want to assume that it could be on Penix if it's players, but when it's coaching, it's like you have a Bijan. There's no way you get shot out to zero when you have a Bijan
Yeah.
Robinson, like I said, a Pitts, a London
I was gonna say the fact they didn't even score
at all.
at all against one of the bottom teams in the league. Yes, they're on the road, but that shouldn't have mattered that much.
Yep,
And then even then, um, you had Penix going. I think it was 18 for 36 and less than 200 yards, and then an interception as well. That's just unacceptable. Like
yep,
I don't even know.
yeah, and that brings it back to him not performing like an eighth overall pick. I mean, he was up there when it came to when he was playing at Washington, he was showing stuff, but from what I remember, he did struggle throwing in the middle of the field. He was good outside the numbers. I'm pretty sure what I remember in my draft scouting, but I mean, it's showing there's just a lot of stuff that they're gonna have to fix because this team's too talented on paper. The defense, the offense, it's too talented on paper to go and not score a single point against the Panthers, who are in your division. Another loser I got is the Cardinals offense. I mean, not only are they kind of sluggish, but they just lost their lead back in James Conner. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s confidence is seems like it's at an all-time low, dropping passes. Then they're not also using him to his like as much as they should be to bring the confidence up. There's a whole lot of stuff going wrong with that, and it gets you to think if this season's another disappointment. When do you have the Kyler Murray conversation that both sides need to mutually separate? Kyler needs a new scenery. The Cardinals need a new scenery. That conversation should be held if this season continues to look like the way they have been. Um, Another loser, I mean, the Ravens, like, the Derrick Henry fumble, the defense, the O
O
line.
line for
There's just
sure.
so there's so much stuff where they just got their butt whooped by the Lions that now they're gonna have to go and look at everything because it's like if you're going to want to go compete in the playoffs to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to go against teams that are like the Lions, but like on your version, like the Bills, like their defense is a little whatever. You guys look like you were going to beat them in the first game, but then you didn't. You can't let that happen. Knowing the Chiefs, they seem to really lock in when they need to. That defense is still good. The offense is going to get better when they get healthier, when they get Rasheed Rice back. There's a whole lot of things that you got to lock in. I mean, the Chargers, they right now they look like they're
Yeah.
one of the better teams in the AFC, if
Yep.
not top two. That's going to be a team you got to watch out for because they're going to bring the pressure. Khalil Mack not being out for the season is huge for them. He's going to keep generating the pressure. Their defensive back room as a whole looks amazing, and you just everything they've been doing is very unacceptable. Henry's got to keep sure he has that football. He's getting the
Yeah.
yardage, but the fumbles are coming in
Because
literally the worst
you could,
situations.
yeah, very like you said, because week one against the Bills, Ravens had that. If Derrick Henry did not fumble that ball, and maybe even with the missed PAT they had earlier,
Yep.
I mean, it that type of luck in the first game because they had that game. He fumbled, and that just added to the Bills' momentum.
Yeah.
And then last game, trying to make a comeback late, once again fumbled it, and then from there it kind of just all fell apart. And
Yep.
kind of in a way was kind of like the cherry on top of what made them lose game. Not all the blame. I'm not trying to put all the blame on Henry, but he's got to clean it up because butterfly effect. There's probably a world where if he doesn't fumble those balls,
They're
the
3-0.
yeah, like
Yep.
the chances of them winning those games increases. I couldn't tell you they would win, but it like I'm saying when he fumbled the ball, their chances decreased
A lot.
a lot, and their momentum and everything else, the
That
confidence just
specifically,
died,
the
just
momentum
completely
got
died,
switched
just completely
immediately.
died. Yeah,
And Henry has fumbled every game. He fumbled against the Browns, but he retained it. But he's fumbled one time in every game so far. Like he's got to clean it up. Whether or not the fumble, but it's like even though like I do blame more of the Ravens defense when it comes to especially the Bills thing, but it's like you caused the momentum shift in week 1 and 3. There's a whole lot of things he's got to clean up. Specifically the fumbling. He's got to make sure his confidence is right. He can't get in his head because I mean 3 games, 3 fumbles. You're gonna start getting in your head a little bit. That whole
yeah,
team has just got to keep it good. Like they were missing pieces. I will give them that. That's a big reason why they were getting ran on the entire game. Matabuke being gone and Kyle Van Noy being gone. Those are two pretty big pieces, honestly. Jair Alexander. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit on that. But stuff has to click for them, and it's got to click at when it's time. You're 1 and 2. If you're wanting to get a good seeding in the playoffs, to have the best chance to go win a Super Bowl, you're gonna need to lock in for that stuff. Another loser I have is the Packers offense. They just didn't look that good against the Browns. I mean, the Browns defense looked phenomenal, and they have been good. But the Packers, you're supposed to be this huge powerhouse of a team from what we saw against the Lions, from what we just continuously have seen. The defense did their job, so that, they've been consistently good all year. But when it comes to the playoffs, January, February time, that offense will need to step up. You cannot win a playoff game with only 10 to 13 points. That is so rare to
yeah,
happen. And if that happens, then you need to go buy all your defensive players a brand new house and a Lamborghini or something because that's just insane. So Jordan Love, he's made some questionable stuff, and he's definitely their biggest question mark when you go and say, will they win the Super Bowl? It's going to come back to him because there is times where he shows inconsistency, and you're going to be like, well, what is this? You just look like this week, and now you're looking like this. I
yeah,
don't know what's going
for
on.
sure.
So they just got to clean the offense up because I know they're a top 2 team in the NFC, top 5, top 4 team in the NFL in general when they want to be. That defense is arguably the best in the NFL. I mean, they're up there. Them and the Chargers, I think, are up there for at least for my preference of what I've been watching. Um, but yeah, they just got to clean that offense up. Another team I got is the Cowboys defense. I mean, besides the second half of the Eagles game, they have been horrible. They have been absolutely horrible. They're at least the bottom 2, if not the worst defense in the league right now. One of the worst defenses I've seen. They were, it's just like how they were in 2020. No Micah Parsons. Secondary is getting just dissembled. The linebackers aren't doing well. D line's underperforming, and it's hurting other guys like Kenny Clark. He's had a decent PFF grade throughout the season already. Him and Osa both. Osa is actually third in win percentage of getting off blocks, but it's not. It's being overshadowed by how horrible this defense is. I mean, you're getting safeties and corners just not knowing who's doing what. The miscommunications are horrible, and you have 4 touchdowns by Caleb Williams on 4 open people, 3 of them being wide open. Like, you're no way you're going to fall for a flea flicker in 2025. Like, when you see the way the routes are kind of, happening, you should realize, oh, this is definitely going to, be this. The way everything's positioned, they definitely should have been on that. They weren't. They got, they had what was coming because they're playing dumb. They're playing stupid. This defense looks like it's a bunch of high schoolers that just don't know each other and they don't know what they're doing. And they have to fix it quick. If they want this season to be, a successful season, they got to change everything they can. And it's going to show Sunday night against the Packers, which they will most likely lose. But if they show any type of, improvement, then there's going to be hope for the season for them. But there's going to be a lot of things they got to change, specifically on defense. That offense still looked good. They look, good enough even without Lamb, but they're gonna have to step up. Schottenheimer needs to run the ball more to maybe take off more clock because you don't want your defense on the field a lot when they're playing the way they are.
For sure.
There's got to be scheme changes on the defense, personnel changes on the defense, and if that's not even good enough, then you will have to trade for somebody if you want this season successful. It's either you trade for people or sign free agents, as in there's a Justin Simmons out there, there's a Stephon Gilmore out there. You did get Jadeveon Clowney. We're gonna see how he performs Sunday, whatever his snap count may be. But if you have to, you're gonna have to is trade for somebody, sign somebody, do both. If you want this season, if Jerry wants this season to be successful, then he'll do that. If not, then he's thinking, the draft capital's good, so maybe we should just ride the season out, and whatever happens, happens. We end up with a good pick, or we go to the playoffs, and I say, we didn't need Parsons to go to the playoffs. For him, I think he's in a win-win situation, honestly, and he doesn't really care. So I could see them not making any moves after this Clowney signing, and them just continuously talking about how they like their guys and that they think they'll be this team. And then if the season does disappoint as it's showing, then Jerry will try to act like he's surprised. But it's all a front for them, and that defense is a big loser. That front offices they're just filled with losers.
All right, so for my big winners, I have Isaiah Rodgers and pretty much the whole Minnesota Vikings team as a whole. I mean, they scored 48. They scored 48 last week, and that was with JJ McCarthy out. So that's kind of a huge win for. It's a huge win for Isaiah Rodgers. It's a huge win for Minnesota Vikings. It's a huge win for Carson Wentz because, like I said, they put up 48 with JJ McCarthy out.
Yeah.
You have Wentz coming in, who obviously has gone so under the radar, kind of bouncing between teams and being a backup. But he went 14 for 20, 173, and two passing touchdowns. That's nothing special, but that's what got the job done, and it's what you need from your backup quarterback. So for him to hold the glue that game with McCarthy out is a huge win for the Vikings, especially when they're in one of the roughest divisions right now in the NFL. Because you got the Lions, who, I mean, they had their loss against Green Bay, but I mean, they're clearly bouncing back and they're clearly still the Lions, as proven since that Packers game. And then you got the Packers themselves, and they actually lost. So every team, you got the Packers, you got the Lions, and you got the Vikings, all 2-1 right now.
Yeah.
So it's all even right now through three games. So a lot of people have the Packers and Lions ahead, and I do too, actually, because I don't know how much to trust McCarthy yet so far. But considering the fact that he was out, they got the win, and I am a McCarthy guy. Like he is a good quarterback, and just him learning throughout the rest of the season, if he can click even more than he already has, or if they just want to put Wentz in for another game, either way, I feel like this is a huge win for the Vikings. Like I said, this is a rough
Yeah.
division. You need wins. You're all at 2-1 right now. They haven't played the Packers yet, and they haven't played the Lions yet. So we'll see what the tiebreaker things, because I'm sure that will probably come into play later in the season.
Yeah.
But that's a huge win for the Vikings. Isaiah Rodgers, pick six, scoop and score, and then forced another fumble. It's absolutely insane. Partly why they put up 48, obviously, but in a division that's so hard, the Vikings came away with a huge win. I know they're going against Browning and the Bengals, but they did what they were supposed to do, and they had a statement win for that. So
Yeah.
for my next big winner, I have the Seahawks. I mean, just completely as a team, Seattle, you had said that they destroyed the Saints in every part of the game, offense,
Yep.
defense, and specifically special teams.
Exactly.
And a couple stats I have for the O lineman on Seattle, which, if you're a Seahawks fan, you know very well the O lineman for Seattle hasn't been good since they were making Super Bowls against the Broncos and the Patriots
Yep.
about 10 years ago. That's the last time they had a good O line group. So, I mean, thank God they had Russell Wilson, a fast quarterback through that. But I mean, if they had a slower quarterback during those years, I would want to say it's one of the worst O linemen in history, I feel like.
Yeah.
But no one talks about it because they luckily had a quarterback that could get him out of those situations where he got sacked every play. But some of the stats here I have, um, the Seahawks O line sustained blocks for 2.5 seconds, 85% of the time, and they had an 85% pass block win rate, which is their best over the last 9 seasons. So
Jeez.
that's a huge win. I mean, Gray Zabel's been showing up. He's been doing exactly what you've been needing him to do. I don't think he's quite the savior. Obviously, he's just one guy, and you need everyone to be clicking, but everyone so far seems to be doing their part. This O line has proven now in these stats that it's coming to be one of the best O line they've had in 9 seasons, and I feel like that's partly what kind of stopped the Seahawks dynasty. Besides the Legion of Boom, the
Yep.
O line was just completely trash. So if the Seahawks can fix their O line, which it seems like they have, then good for them. They're in a rough division as well, like the Vikings, like I said. So if both teams are clicking, then that's a huge win for them. Seattle's now won 2 in a row now. They I could even say big winner Torrey Horton, by the way, as well, because he had a 95-yard punt return, which is literally the first punt return touchdown in Seattle history in like 10 years. But he got a punt return touchdown, and then he got a receiving touchdown as well. And in his last game against Pittsburgh, in week 2, that was his first NFL game. He didn't even play week 1, and he got a touchdown in that game as well. So in the 2 games he's played, he has 3 touchdowns, and I believe that's tied with Emeka on most touchdowns by a rookie
Yeah.
receiver so far this season.
Yep.
So good for him. He's going under the radar. I believe he's a fifth rounder. So, he's clicking as well. So props to him. My next big winner being the Eagles. I mean, I'm kind of tired of having them on my big winner list, kind of, but they're 3-0, and they're just finding ways to win. Like I've stated multiple times, the fact that they're like in the Chiefs game, the fact they were able to pull that out of the middle of nowhere when not Wentz, when Hurts got 101 passing yards, and you're still able to win the game against Kansas City on the road is absolutely insane. And uh showing a comeback against the Rams, they were down 26-7 in the second half. So they were down 26-7. Yeah, they never allowed any more points for the rest of the game. So they allowed the 26, I believe, in the first half, and I think they won like 33-26. So their defense completely showed up in the second half, and it's kind of just scary because you can shut down Hurts to 100 passing yards, and he'll still beat you if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you're down 26-7, Hurts will now come up with his passing touchdowns, which he's never really shown. He now has all these passing touchdowns and is able to lead the Eagles to a comeback. So the fact that they're winning in all these ways, whether they're doing good, whether they're doing bad, they kind of are showing that they're unstoppable. I mean, these teams are
Yeah.
getting close. I mean, Chiefs only lost by 3, and like I said, Rams had a 26-7 lead. Cowboys almost pulled off an upset in week 1, but
Yeah.
it it's just crazy how the Eagles keep on winning these games. So
They might
props
be
to the
this
Eagles as
year's
well.
Chiefs just with the
Yeah,
luck of winning these games. I mean,
yeah, seriously, the black magic that the
yep,
Chiefs had last year, I think
it's
the Eagles are
transpired.
starting to have that. Yeah, but yeah, they scored 26 points unanswered to win that game, and
Jeez,
it,
man.
it was a losable game too. So like,
Very.
man, it's crazy. And then shout out Matthew Stafford. He's now ninth in the NFL passing touchdowns list, passing Matt Ryan. But
Oh,
one
hell
thing
yeah.
I want to talk about a little bit while we're on the topic of the Eagles is the tush push.
Ooh,
And I don't know, I'm gonna try and keep my rant short, but I do want to rant about it. First off, I was a fan. I was a fan of keeping the tush push in the NFL. I was a fan of keeping it in the NFL. But now, considering it's such an OP play call, but more importantly, the thing that makes me frustrated about the tush push, as you've probably seen everywhere on social media the last few weeks, is there's now offsides on almost, or false starts rather. There's now false starts on almost every single tush push, and they're getting away with it. After the Chiefs game, I saw a thing and it said NFL officials will purposefully look into false start penalties the Eagles are committing because they missed like 2 or 3 in that Kansas City game. So the refs went out, the NFL went out and said the refs will purposefully be looking for false starts that the Eagles are doing during the tush pushes. And in the first quarter, I think it was the first drive that the Eagles had against the Rams this last week. They did another false start again that the NFL literally just said the week prior that they were going to look into that. They do another false start and it wasn't even called. So the NFL is looking into it, but it literally happened the very next game, first drive for them, I believe, and it happened again. I think the tush push should be banned. Clearly, the refs are blind to it.
Yep.
I mean, I understand it's just a bunch of players just moving. It's like a quick snap, boom, going to the goal line. I understand that,
But now it's being
but
done illegally.
it's being done illegally.
Literally breaking rules to
It,
do it.
yeah, you're breaking rules to do this play. So it's not even really 100% like all on the Eagles right now that I'm putting the blame on. It's partially just the way that the NFL's handling it with the penalties, like I said, that they're
Yeah.
not getting called, but they're doing the play illegally and clearly. I mean, even if they weren't, if the play was getting OP enough, I would want it banned, and it was heading that way because I mean that's all of Hurts' rushing touchdowns. I feel like all of his rushing touchdowns need to go away. It's just 1 yard rushes, and everyone's saying Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFL. Look at his, rushing touchdowns. It's like, bro, 80% of his rushing touchdowns are within the 3 yard line, and practically all of them are on the 1 yard line with a tush push.
Yep.
Like the Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown, the Jalen Hurts talk needs to stop. He's very overrated because a lot of his plays, a lot of the rushing touchdowns, just purely look at his passing stats. I mean, you can look at his rushing yards, but the rushing touchdowns, it's a 1 yard touchdown. Like, you could put any other quarterback out there on a tush push, and I feel like they'd be able to do it, especially if they're doing it illegally. So it's nothing special with the 1 yard rush. What's special is what Lamar's doing with his legs, or what
Yep.
Mahomes can sometimes do.
Yep.
But Hurts running from the 1 yard line, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Stealing
He
touchdowns
has
from
the best
Barkley
O
too.
line in the world. He has the best O line in the world. It's nothing special if he scores on the 1 yard line, but especially if he's getting shoved from behind.
Yeah.
So that's my little rant about Jalen Hurts. But the whole play needs to go. And I feel like that play against the Rams, that whole game kind of taught me I need it gone. I want it gone. They're doing it illegally and everything else.
Yep.
It's unfair, and yeah, that play needs banned. So I thought I'd rant about that a little bit. My next big winner I have is the 49ers. Rough division, obviously, in the NFC West. I mean, you got the Rams, who we know are going to do good. We have the Seahawks that are going to do pretty good and maybe even great. You got the Cardinals, who are a huge question mark. It depends on if the Cardinals can click or not. But the Cardinals very well could be a team that can do good. Like I said, they're just a huge question mark. And the 49ers, if they can stay healthy, then it is going to be the best division in the NFL. It is the
Yep.
best division in the NFL. They're the only division right now that has every team with a winning record. So, but more importantly, what I'm about to say is they held their own with Mac Jones because Purdy's now coming back week 4 this upcoming week. Brock Purdy's now back, so Mac Jones being able to hold the glue for the 49ers while Purdy was gone, all you can ask him to do is win the game. It doesn't matter if it's ugly or not. Your
Yeah.
quarterback's out. All you need to do is just keep your record up. And the 49ers did that in their 2 games. So he held the glue for the 49ers. So good for them. I have them on my big winners list. They're 3-0. Obviously, like I said, it's a rough division. So being up 3-0
It's
in this
huge.
huge division is huge for the
Yep.
49ers. So um, I know the Saints and the Cardinals, their opponents, you know, they weren't like huge threats, but they're getting the job done with the backup quarterback and with Kittle out
Yeah.
as well. So
Now they're going to be without
and
Bosa for
now
the
they're going to
year.
be out without Bosa. So
I'm pretty sure he was out pretty early in that game.
yeah, so I mean, for the 49ers sake, I hope they can stay healthy, but if they can continue to, I mean, they're going to get Purdy back. So if Purdy can now hold the glue of the 49ers while Kittle's still out a few more weeks, and then obviously with Bosa gone now, if they can continue, then props to them. I mean, they have the head start right now, being the undefeated team in the NFC West. So,
And they're going to get
you
Ayuk
know,
back. He keeps not being talked about. Brandon
I
Ayuk is
forgot.
still like He's still there, but he's just recovering from stuff. And once he's back, they're gonna have their actual receiver one back, and now they're gonna have Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall instead of just
Yeah,
being Pearsall. And shout out to Pearsall for what he's been doing, handling
yeah,
the receiver one role.
for sure. Pearsall's third in the NFL in receiving yards right now. Literally the top three. I mean, also let me just give a shout out to the young receiving core in the NFL right now because you got Puka Nakua number one in receiving yards in the all of the NFL, and then you got JSN two, and then you got Ricky Pearsall three. So those are three young players, and they're literally the top three. So props to all of them.
Yeah,
Um, Next, I just have honorable mentions for my winners. I have the Colts. I won't put them as a big winner because now we're kind of getting used to them. Now these are just coming easy for them, kind of. But honorable mention to the Colts. They finally punted. Can you believe that? With the first two games, no punts or no turnovers. They finally punted, and that was only just one time. They didn't even turn the ball over either, though. So that's all three games so far. The Colts have been able to keep the ball. Um, and then they're putting up a 40 piece as well. They won 41-20, and Jonathan Taylor three touchdowns. I mean, if Daniel Jones is going to continue to play the way he's doing, and you now
yeah,
got Jonathan Taylor, who I believe is number one in the NFL in rushing yards, I believe, then I like I said in the last episode, I believe I think the Colts are going to be contenders. I mean, they're 3-0, and if Jonathan Taylor's clicking, Daniel Jones is clicking, their complete offense is clicking. Like I said, one punt in three games is crazy.
yeah,
So, you know, props to the Colts. I have them as my honorable mention. Next up, I have uh, just a quick honorable mention to Aaron Rodgers. He threw his 509th career touchdown. That moves him fourth all time, passing Brett Favre. So the fact he's still playing at this level at this age, props to him as he goes higher in the record books.
for sure.
And then honorable mention Washington Commanders. Without Jaden Daniels, you have to put Marcus Mariota out there. I mean, yes, you're at home, but with Jaden Daniels gone, you know, I felt like the game was going to be pretty even. So I still had Commanders winning that game. But, when you take away Jaden Daniels from the picture from the Commanders, I feel like the Raiders and the Commanders are very even teams at that point. And the Commanders just pulled away. They won 41-24. It was a losable game, obviously, against Las Vegas. So that was a huge win. Mariota put up 15 for 21, 207, a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. He did what he was supposed to do as a backup quarterback. So kind of like the 49ers, like I said, with Mac Jones, they kind of held the glue for their teams
Yeah,
while their quarterbacks were out. So props to them. Commanders also had 5 sacks. So huge win for them. And then onto my big losers. I have the Cowboys defense like you had. It's just unbelievable how embarrassing it's kind of getting. Like you said, they were good against the Eagles, or decent, and then good in that second half. I think only allowing like 3 points to Philly in the second half of
yeah,
that first game. But you know, seeing Russell Wilson now having a rough first game and then a rough third game this last week against Kansas City, and then his only good game goes against Dallas, putting up 450 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like they made Russell Wilson look like he was in his prime still, and then obviously Caleb Williams, like you said, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's the first time he's ever had a game with 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And for the first time in Williams' career, he also never got sacked. So maybe this Parsons trade is coming back to bite him. We'll see. I mean, Cowboys got Clowney now, so we'll see where it goes. But
yeah,
I mean, they never sacked Williams. They never forced a turnover, and all 4 of his touchdowns, literally all 4 of his touchdowns, were wide open. It's completely unacceptable. And when the offense shows up, I mean, it didn't really against the Bears this last week, but overall, the Cowboys' offense is there. You got all the pieces, but if they can't figure out this defense, then you could say bye to the playoffs, and
yeah,
that's a huge shame because I
yep,
had high hopes for them still, even after trading Parsons. Um, So Cowboys got to make a move. They got to get people healthy. I don't really know what they need. They just need everything to go their way because it's unfortunate. You can't let this go on too much longer. Have them go to like a 1-5, 1-6 record, and then have things be clicking because you're already in so much of a hole that
Yeah.
it's not even really going to matter, especially when you're in a division with the Commanders and the Eagles. So, big loser to the Cowboys defense. They got to go clean that up.
Yep.
It was also their fourth most points the Cowboys have allowed within their first 3 games. It's fourth most. They've allowed 92 points across the first 3 games so far. So historically, it's not looking good. So they got to go clean that up. Next up for my big losers, I have the Packers. I mean, they choked a 10-0 lead with like 4 minutes left in the game. I don't even really know where to go with that. I'm just completely I'm still shocked to this day that they lost that game. It was obviously a winnable game for
Yeah.
them. I expected it to be maybe not a blowout, but I expected the Packers to win comfortably. And being up 10-0 with 4 minutes, you should have that game
Yeah.
in the bag like 9 out of 10 times. So the fact that they ended up losing, they got their kick blocked, like we talked about earlier. It's it was kind of just embarrassing. It was embarrassing because you had that game, it was a winnable game. And I'm still not worried for the Packers' future, but they can't keep doing this. And when you're in a division where you now have the Lions clicking, and the Vikings are holding up right now, then the Packers got to be clicking. There's not really too much room for mistakes. You can't be losing to the Browns, and that loss could come back to bite them. So
Yeah.
we'll see. So uh, overall embarrassing game for Green Bay, and they got to clean that up. They got sacked 5 times. They found themselves on third down 18 times.
Jeez.
They they got penalized 14 times, and they only got 230 total yards. I mean, the Browns only got 220, but the Browns offense isn't. We kind of expect that out of the Browns offense with like an old Joe
Yeah.
Flacco and not too much weapons on the offensive side, but
Yeah.
what we see out of the Packers getting 230 total yards in a game, it's not what we need to be seeing from them. It's a shock and just a complete surprise. They can't be putting up those numbers. It's not what we expect from them. So next up, I just have honorable mentions for my losers now. I have the Falcons. I had them beating the Panthers, but the fact they lost the game, the fact they didn't even score, and then
Yep.
not just that, but they allow 30 points
Yep.
to a struggling Panthers team. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, Bryce Young he didn't even have a crazy game, but they still allowed 30 points. And Michael Penix, yeah, 18 for 36, 172 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Like you were talking about earlier, we don't know if it's Penix, we don't know if it's the coaching staff, but something's got to change because
Yeah.
with the Falcons roster, you can't be having that happen. And with the Falcons division being not like super overpowered, I mean, the Falcons' only main threat pretty much is the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And guess what? Well, you're now 1-2 as the Falcons, and the Buccaneers are 3-0, and they're gonna run away with it.
Yep.
I thought it was gonna be purely Buccaneers Falcons, but now they're literally at the bottom of their division right now.
We'll see if the Panthers continue this.
Yeah,
That they're starting to get hot, and if they can
they're the same
continue
record as the
this,
Panthers.
dude,
Yeah,
yeah, they could go up and they could, you know, I mean, I don't know if they'll be able to fight for first, but they could fight for second and be that seventh wild card team.
yeah, for sure. So you know, I don't even really know what else to say, but I expected them to win that game,
Yeah.
and with the Buccaneers kind of running away right now at 3-0,
Yep.
you can't have
It's
too
gonna be
much
hard to catch them.
mistakes. Yeah, it's going to be hard to catch them, so they gotta fix things now.
Yep.
Um, and then as well as um, Michael Penix, he's 0-4 when his opponents score more than 7 points. That's a stat I found the other day,
Yeah,
and I
that's
still can't believe
horrible.
that. He's 0-4 when starting, and his opponents score more than 7 points. That I don't even know what to say to that. That, like I've said a billion times, it's just unacceptable.
It's
You can't have
horrible.
that happen. So I think the Buccaneers are going to run away with it. If it
Yep.
goes at this pace, they're clearly going to run away with it. So
Yep.
Falcons got to get it taken care of. Um, Honorable mention loser, I have the Texans. They're 0-3 now. I mean, where do you go? And they also just got rid of CJ Gardner Johnson. They just released him. So where do you go if you're the Texans? Stroud's not performing the way he should. I think Stroud's just in the wrong system.
They
But
need to fix that O line, dude. That's like the
they
worst part.
they need to fix that O line like completely. I mean, they coming off of a playoff win last season against the Chargers, and now you're just 0-3. Like it just doesn't make sense. Their O line isn't clicking.
Yep.
Like you said, they got to get that taken care of. They allowed Stroud to get pressured on 43% of dropbacks against the Rams earlier this season.
They traded Laramie Tunsil, their best lineman, to
Yeah,
the Commanders, and now it's biting them back so badly. And so they need to address that immediately because this team is a competitor.
yeah,
One like you can see that defense is a very good defense and is the only reason why they're still even in games, but that offense still keeps coming up short over and over and over. And it's literally like just last game against the Jaguars. I mean, Josh Hines Allen comes off the tackle and comes in and hits the ball as CJ's throwing, so it's wobbly and it gets picked and the game's over with. So that O
yeah,
line is single handedly, literally like at a big hand and losing games. And so yeah, if they want to, take this 0-3 drought and throw it away, they got to fix the O line and they got to just keep clicking and see if anything
yeah.
happens. And if not, then I don't know where you go from there because you are a competitor. It's not like you have to blow the team up, but
Right.
when do you start thinking about making some moves?
For sure. And it was a winnable game against Jacksonville, but now you have the Texans at the bottom of the league, and that's crazy. I never thought I would have said that through week 3 so far, but
Yeah, dude.
it's a
They're
shame because I
0-3 and
want
the
the
Colts are
Texans to
3-0.
succeed. Yeah,
It's like, what?
it makes no sense, but Texans got to clean it up like the rest of these teams. Other honorable mention loser, I have Russell Wilson. Basically, I mean, he just got benched, and I just saw today, literally right before we started filming, they're planning on having Jackson Dart start for the rest of the season.
Yep.
So, I mean, it is kind of a win for the Giants because you knew you weren't really going to go anywhere with Russell.
Yeah.
So now let's see what Dart can have. I mean, obviously he didn't have the full year to sit, but he had a few games at least. So,
And the
you
off
know,
season.
yeah, and the off season. So, we'll see what happens with the Giants. We'll see what happens with Dart. I'm super excited for him. I think he's going to succeed. Um, but kind of big loser to the rest of the Giants because they're not looking super great. That might be a Russell Wilson thing. That might be a coaching thing. Who knows? I mean, is
Yeah.
Dayball going to get fired because they're 0-3? They lost to the Chiefs, gave them their first win.
Yeah.
You know, but Wilson didn't look great. So at least the Giants are trying something new and getting Dart in. But
Yep.
Russell Wilson, I think this is probably the downfall of his career if it didn't already happen. I
Yeah.
mean, he could retire, who knows? But big loser to Russell Wilson, and then more of a question mark on the Giants right now on where they go. And then last game I wanted to talk about was the Lions Ravens game. I mean, Lions sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times,
Yep.
and like you said, they pressured them 40 times.
Unbelievable.
40 times. It's I don't want to say
I don't know if I've heard of that.
unacceptable, but that's the only word that can come to my mind is unacceptable. You cannot allow that.
Nope.
And the fact that it's Lamar Jackson and you're getting pressured 40 times and getting sacked 7 times is even more embarrassing because he's the fastest quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
Imagine if you had a guy who couldn't run.
It's
10,
over,
10,
bro.
11
It would
sacks,
have been 38 to
like
0.
50 pressures. Yeah, and the
Or even
Ravens not even
worse. Because
scoring
there probably would
any
have been a
points.
couple picks getting pressured that hard.
Yeah,
It
the
could have been
fact that you didn't
100 to
even throw a
nothing.
pick. Yeah, pretty much.
If you had like a Joe Flacco out there that's, and like if you had a true pocket quarterback that just never ran really, the Ravens are very lucky to have the shiftiest quarterback in NFL history behind that line of scrimmage because my goodness, that game was something else.
Yeah, so thankfully for the Ravens, you got Lamar Jackson back there
Yep.
because if you didn't, you'd absolutely be screwed for the rest of the season.
Yep.
But either way, you got to clean it up. You might have Lamar, who's
Yep.
at least getting you points on the board. But you just lost at home in a winnable game. I had the Ravens winning that game. My
It was so
picks,
close at like for
yeah,
like 90% of the game.
for sure. And overall, my picks this week, almost half of them were completely wrong because I had the Ravens winning this game, and
Yeah, me
everyone
too.
else, everyone else on ESPN had the Ravens winning that game as well.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I mean, the Lions' two-headed monster in the backfield. The Lions are showing, and I'm happy for
Very
them. I
good.
mean, you had Gibbs with 2 touchdowns, you had Montgomery with 2 touchdowns, you had Goff being Goff, you had
Yep.
Amon-Ra St. Brown with some clutch catches. I mean,
Everyone was just clicking.
everyone was clicking, and the Ravens O line needs to clean it up. The Ravens now find themselves 1-2, and when the AFC right now, you have the Chiefs 1-2. You
I
got
believe the Ravens were 1-2 last year as well.
yeah, and they got to find their way out of it like they did last year. But who knows what's going to happen this year? But the Chiefs are 1-2. They're 1-2, and then you got the Bengals 1-2, and without Burrow for practically the whole season, the AFC is up for grabs.
It really is.
And now the Ravens just lost a winnable game.
It makes you think if the
So it's
Chargers
a
might be right now the most complete AFC team. Like
yeah. I think I said last
right
week they're going to be a
now,
dark horse, but I
yeah,
don't think they're really going to be dark horse anymore
they're playing the
because they're
best,
three
most
and zero.
yeah,
And
because it's like they've showed that they can, like in this Broncos game when things were getting tough and it wasn't them just dominating the whole game, they were still able to come back and get the game-winning drive to the field goal.
yeah,
You know, Herbert looks great. Everyone looks good. Quentin Johnson looks like his hands have been revived by God. There's a whole lot of things going on. That defense is real, and that's why that defense will definitely make you pay for mistakes. And the Ravens are making a lot of mistakes. The Chiefs will get better offensively, but right now they're not doing anything. The Bills' defense is just way too inconsistent.
yeah.
It makes you think that right now the Chargers have to be the favorite in the AFC, at least like to me.
Yeah, especially because I expected the Bills to run away with that Thursday night game against Miami,
It was so
and they
close,
almost lost that game.
almost.
If Tua didn't throw that late game pick,
If Tua
they
didn't
could have
turn the
tied
ball
it. If
over,
yeah, then the Dolphins were on their way of tying it, and who knows what would have happened then.
yep,
But you know,
that
with
team needs to blow it up.
with the AFC being a huge question mark,
It's such a difference when you look at the Dolphins 0-3 and then the Texans 0-3. The
yeah,
Texans could go 0-3 and then go and win 11 games. 11, 12 games, and we'd be like, yeah, see, that team just needed to click. But the Dolphins, that team is not going to do anything this year besides
yeah, oh
blow the
yeah,
team up. And they need to. They got to change stuff over there. They need a whole overhaul. They need to start trading players. Tyreek Hill is like the number one player that should go get traded. So should Minka Fitzpatrick. And if they really want extra picks and they really want to send everyone out because they want as many picks, then you trade Tua, you trade Devon A. Chain because you'll definitely get picks out of him as he's a very exciting player, electric, and you keep your younger guys and Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon. But there's a lot of things they have to. But that's another topic
yeah.
because there's so much to go into on that team.
All right, so next up, we got the Thursday night game. We got Seattle going to Glendale to face the Cardinals. This is a huge divisional game,
Yep.
division matchup. So I mean, I have Seahawks winning 27-20 to get my prediction right out of the way right now. I got Seattle winning 27-20. On paper, I feel like Seattle could win. All right, so time to move on to the division game between Seattle and Arizona. I mean, this is a huge game. Both teams are 2-1,
Yep.
and Cardinals are a question mark, so who knows? But I mean, so far their records are the same, and their loss was a close game against San Fran, who's now 3-0. So it was definitely a winnable game. So
Same with the Seahawks. I mean, both teams'
yeah,
loss or were
against
close
the
games
Niners,
with the
both of
Niners,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
came
for
down to a
sure.
fumble at the end for both teams.
Yeah, exactly, and I think Seattle overall is better on paper. I think they're better in almost everywhere
Yeah.
compared to the Cardinals. So I have Seattle winning the game 27-20. I think looking at both teams, I could even argue and say I think Seattle could win, maybe by 17, maybe even by 20 points.
Yep.
But considering this is a divisional game, and Arizona's at home, anything can happen in those types of games. I mean, you had Miami almost beating the Bills, and I mean, no one expected that, and they were on the road too, and it came down to a final drive, even though the Bills should have dominated that game. So divisional games are just overall crazy in the NFL. I think Seattle is just more they're the more consistent team
Yeah.
than Arizona is. They got the offense that's clicking. Their O line, the Seattle's O line, like I said earlier, they're clicking now for the first time in a while.
Yep.
Sam Darnold isn't getting sacked. Unlike Geno and Russell Wilson was in his final years in Seattle.
Yeah.
Overall, this O line's much better. They're much more cleaned up. You got Cooper Kupp, who cleaned it up after his first game where he's virtually nowhere.
Yeah.
You got JSN second in receiving yards right now. You got the two-headed monster of Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, who's still showing up, and he's proven that when he's healthy, he can be a great player. But mixed with this great O line, I'm happy for Seattle cleaning it up. I'm happy for Gray Zabel. Darnold has had some iffy first halves here and there. I think he's already had a couple of those games so far this season where he's had like an iffy half, but he's cleaned it up. He's doing better than what Geno did, and he might not be doing great, or obviously he's not having as great of a year as he had last year, obviously in Minnesota, but he's getting the job done. He's better than Geno, so overall, I think this is a more of a upgrade, more of an upgraded team for Seattle than it was for last year. And I mean, either way, whether you're Seattle or Arizona, you need to be clicking right now in this really, really rough division. Like I said earlier, it's the NFC West is the only division where every team has a winning record right now. You got 3-0 49ers, and then the rest are 2-1. So, winner of this game will get ahead of the other one, and we'll have the tiebreaker so far um, over them. But I got Seattle winning 27-20. Like I said earlier, I think Seattle could pull away. I think they're better than the Cardinals in almost every way. But because it is a game between two division teams, I think Cardinals could pull it close. I think Cardinals definitely at home. And then obviously the Seahawks luck in Arizona is actually kind of crazy too. I know the series very well. But on Richard Sherman's podcast, a lot of people have probably seen the video, but he was talking about Seattle's luck in the Arizona stadium, and he was talking about how they lost the Super Bowl there in that stadium. He was talking about how he tore his Achilles there. Richard Sherman tore his Achilles in that stadium, never played a game for Seattle again. You had Earl Thomas with his leg injury, never played a game with Seattle again. Cam Chancellor hurt his neck, never play a football game again. I don't think so overall, and then also a 6-6 tie in overtime because Seattle missed a kick with 20 seconds left. I think I know that's kind of sounds more of like a superstitious, like it's not actually the stadium, but honestly, it I feel like it kind of is at the same time, just overall with teams. Um, so overall, Seattle has had bad luck against Arizona. I don't know how many times they've like lost in winnable games against them. And overall, Arizona always puts up a fight. And so far, we're still in an era where Seattle is the better team than Arizona. It's been like that since at least Russell Wilson came to Seattle, I feel like.
Yeah.
Um, but Arizona always puts up a fight, so I do seeing it being very close, even though I don't think it should be very close. But I got 27-20 Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, you said everything. I don't really have to touch on it that much besides telling you guys my predictions on the score, which I have it being 31-10, maybe 31-17. I don't really see the Cardinals, like maybe early on it could be close, but I think it gets taken away immediately due to consistency by the Seahawks. It might be close at first because, like he said, Darnold might have like a couple of mistakes in the first half, but he's very good at adjusting into the second half and playing pretty well. So I think that's what's going to happen. Like he said, the Seahawks just have everything you need. They have the receivers. Cooper Kupp's picking up in the system. Everyone's going. JSN is showing improvement every single day, every single game, and every season. He's a true number one in Seattle. That defense is phenomenal. Everybody's clicking.
I didn't even touch on the defense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's just stepping up and making plays when they need to. The special teams is doing great. Torrey Horton's a steal in the draft. There's a lot of different things, and the Cardinals have a lot of different things going for them, not in really that much of a good way. Marvin Harrison Jr. drops. James Conner out for the year. O line horrible. I feel bad for Kyler Murray. There's going to have to be a conversation about if he needs a change of scenery at the end of this year if this season continues to be another disappointment because it's like, yeah, the defense is doing well, but that's like kind of it. They've been getting bailed out, and if they would have won that Niners game, the only reason that that game was even close was because the defense, the offense was underperforming a lot. They had a couple plays here and there,
I think it was
but
15-16.
yeah, but
You can't score 15 to
it's
win the game.
just it's too inconsistent by them on different sides of the ball. I mean, I guess the defense has been the most consistent thing, but the defense can only get you so much things. Like they held them to even before the field goal, you were up and you couldn't score another thing throughout the entire game to continue to have the lead or to get the lead earlier and continue to have it. So, that's why I think they're going to get dominated by the Seahawks pretty fast. And I think this is going to be another disappointing season for the Cardinals, and I think the Seahawks will have a pretty good season, better than they had last year.
Perfect. Much better.
All right,
Much better.
let me make sure I know what I'm going to say about this last time. I messed it up again.
No, you're good. I mean, the Instagram thing was questionable. I mean, you don't even have to bring that up. You literally would just be like,
Because it is on the outro.
thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out our Instagram. This is what we post on there. Watch out for our uploads twice a week, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. All right, that's going to be it for today's episode. I hope you guys liked everything. Please like and subscribe. Check out our Instagram, Y2K Sports Talk. We're going to be posting our, week to week schedule predictions of what we think is going to happen, who's going to win. Uh, Biggest winners and losers. Look out for those videos every week. We're going to post at least once a week. There might be some pop up surprise videos to where we upload maybe twice a week. Look out for those. We'll update you on our Instagram if we do decide to do any of those. And I hope you guys liked everything, and thanks for watching.